If you've been feeling like nothing makes sense, like conversations seem empty, like the roles that once held up your life have lost their weight, know this. It's not failure, it's not loss. It's awakening. You're not disconnecting. You're simply realizing that the external reality is a reflection of a frequency that no longer belongs to you. And today, you're going to understand how this strangeness is, in fact, the first sign of your true expansion, that strange feeling of no longer fitting into places and situations that once seemed normal isn't madness. It's a sign that your old identity is dissolving, like worn-out clothes that no longer fit. You haven't stopped existing. You're simply leaving behind what was never truly you. The discomfort is proof that the inner call has already been answered and that a new version is asking to emerge. Often, this process begins quietly. One day you realize you no longer have patience for drama. The next, certain conversations feel automatic, as if everyone's repeating a script without realizing it. Little by little, you stop being a blind character and become a lucid observer of your own life, noticing the artificiality of roles that once felt so real. And this is where the doubt creeps in. Am I becoming cold? Am I depressed? No, this isn't avoidance, it's recalibration. Your subconscious mind is being reprogrammed to vibrate on another frequency, and old responses no longer fit. It's not the absence of emotion, but a new internal axis that no longer needs so much external noise to feel alive. Imagine being in a house full of furniture that was never yours. You've lived there so long that you got used to it, but at some point, you realize that none of it reflects who you are. Awakening is precisely that moment when you look around and say, this no longer belongs to me. Not because it's bad, but because it doesn't match who you truly are. And from there, everything begins to shift. It's normal to feel confused, because the ego, which once served as your map, now feels like an outdated guide. It's not your enemy, it just doesn't work for the new territory you're entering. You feel that as a kind of emptiness, but in truth, it's space being made for the new. That feeling of strangeness is only preparation for stepping into the vibrational identity of your future self. Quantum physics has pointed in this direction. Amit Goswami says that consciousness is not in the body is in consciousness. This means your identity isn't fixed, it's emergent. When your vibration changes, your external reflection inevitably starts to fall apart. That dissolution is what you call loss, but it's really just the reorganization of your energetic field. And here's the key point. You're not losing, you're expanding. The outer world may seem to crumble, but only because your inner frequency no longer supports the old reality. It's like a mirror that keeps trying to show an old image, but slowly adjusts to reflect the new. The discomfort isn't an end, it's an alignment. You may have already noticed subtle signs, distortions in your perception of time, strange synchronicities, dreams that feel more real than your waking life. These are all clues that your consciousness is crossing invisible thresholds. These phenomena are like secret notes from the universe saying, you're no longer the same. And indeed, you aren't. Awakening isn't gentle. It's intense, disruptive, uncomfortable. But it's precisely that deconstruction that allows your future self to emerge. What seemed like loss is in truth a change in vibrational identity. The sooner you accept this process, the smoother the transition becomes. And that transition began the moment you became aware of the strangeness. So don't resist the strangeness. Welcome it as a sign that you no longer belong to the old energetic field. Your soul is asking to live at a new rhythm, lighter, more aligned with abundance. The more you resist, the more painful it becomes. The more you surrender, the faster the new frequency stabilizes. And remember, you are not alone. Thousands are going through this exact process right now. The emptiness you feel is actually a collective portal. The more people awaken, the more the global field transforms. You are part of a greater wave that cannot be stopped, only lived. And celebrated. So, if until now you believed something was wrong with you, let that belief go. You are exactly where you're meant to be. The emptiness is just proof that your consciousness has already taken a step forward. It's not about losing your identity. It's about making space to fully embody the most authentic version of yourself. And before we go deeper, allow me to offer you an invitation. If this message touched your soul, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with those you love. Here, we form a vibrational community that validates your process and strengthens your path. This isn't just about watching a video, it's about connecting to a collective field vibrating with expansion. Now, let's go deeper, because what you're feeling isn't just confusion. It's the first sign of a new phase, where you stop being a passive observer and become a conscious creator. Emptiness isn't the end, it's the prelude. Discomfort isn't a mistake, it's a passage. Quantas vezes você se pegou olhando para a própria vida, como se faz film? Como se estivesse sentado na plateia, observando personagem que age, fala e repete padrões, mas que não representa como você essa sensação de ser espectador da própria existência não é alienação, mas sim consciência expandindo seus limites. O início da percepção de que sua identidade verdadeira não cabe mais dentro da antiga arte iva de repente. Aquilo que parece importante, perdo peso. Os títulos que você carregava, os papéis sociais que representava, as obrigações que antes ditavam o rumo da sua vida, tudo comica a desmoronar silenciosamente. Não porque não tenham valor em si, mas porque não vibram mais na frequência do seu coração. E como se a mente estivesse tentando se agarrar a estruturas antigas, enquanto a alma já caminha em outra direção. Que está acontecendo e simples. Sua frequência vibrational mudou, e a realidade externa nada mais do que reflexo disso. Quando a vibração se eleva, o espelho demora a refletir o novo rosto, mas ele inevitavelmente se ajusta. Por isso, o mundo que você conhece parece vazio, mas esse vazio é apenas o espaço necessário para que algo mais autêntico possa ocupar o lugar. Imagine-se vestindo uma roupa que já não cabe. Você pode tentar se adaptar, mas o desconforto é inevitável. O despertar é exatamente isso. O incomodo que anuncia que chegou a hora de trocar a vestimenta da idade. Não é uma escolha intelectual, é chamado biológico, energético e espiritual. Su campo já não aceita apertos que antes tolerava. E o mais belo é que não há nada de errado em sentir-se deslocado. Pelo contrário, essa é a confirmação de que sua mente subconsciente está liberando velas programaxes. Você já não aceita mais os móveis da casa alheia. Está pronto para decorar a sua própria casa vibrational, com crenças, valores e escolhas que nascem de dentro e não de pressão externa. O vazio é, portanto, uma liberdade rica em descoberta. A física quântica oferece espelho para compreender isso. O colapso de função de onda mostra que todas as possibilidades existem e que a consciência escolhe uma. Durante anos, você colapsou realidades herdadas, seguindo roteiros impostos por família, sociedade ou medo. Agora, no despertar, percebe que pode escolher conscientemente o reflexo que deseja manifestar. Esse é o poder da primazia da consciência. Essa é a virada de observador passivo para criador consciente. E aqui, você reflete a frequência. Cultiva sem notar. Agora, você descobre que pode colapsar realidades alinhadas ao seu eu do futuro. A lei de atração, antes vista como ideia distante, Tornace experiencia pratica, quando voca perceb que sua vibraquo e canita que escrivo destino. Mas, claro, esse processo não acanta sem resistência. O ego insistem seguro. Mapa antigo, lembrando-o de quem voca foi, tentando convencê-lo a voltar ao conhecido. El não e inimigo, apenas guia desactualizado que não serve mais para o novo território. E nesse embate entre mapa antigo e caminho novo que nasce. A estranheza. E o desconforto de se soltar sem saber ainda onde vai passar. E aqui que a vida parece se desfazer. Mas na verdade esta se reorganizando. O que sai, abre espaço. O que sai, libera peso. O que não pertence, se dissolve naturalmente. Sua alma. Como arquiteta silenciosa, está derrubando paredes velas para construir espaço onde queba a grandeza de sua nova identidade. Voca não está perdendo nada, está ganhando espaço. E se o medo surgir, lembre-se, medo e apenas energia mal direcionada. E vibraco pedindo ajuste. Quando voca respira fundo, su corpo envia ao campo a mensagem de segurança, e a mente se abre para novas possibilidades. O medo se dissolve como nevoa diante da luz, quando voca reconhece que ele hizo uma prova de que algo maior já está nascendo. Dentro de voca, as sincronicidades que kama aparecer nesse processo, não são coincidências. São sinais de alinhamento. Voca pensa alguém e recebe mensagem, sanha algo e via acontecer. Sente que deve virar a esquerda e descobre que era exatamente o caminho certo. Essas confirmações não estão seguindo à toa, são respostas do campo energético. A sua nova frequência. Cada vez que isso acontece, sua confiança cresce. Voca comica a perceber que não está sozinho nesse despertar. O universo responde. Os sinais aumentam. A vida se reorganiza em torno de sua nova vibração. O vazio inicial vai sendo preenchido por fluxo suave que antes voca não percebia. E como se o campo dissesse, bem-vindo de volta a seu verdadeiro eixo. Por isso, é essencial não confundir esse processo com depressão ou desanimo. O corpo pode sentir cansaço, mas não é o cansaço de quem está desistindo, é o cansaço de quem está mudando de pele. Como a cobra que dixa para trás. A antiga cobertura, voca está largando o peso do passado. E logo, o frescor de nova pele comica a se revelar. Esse é o chamado do despertar. Excitar que a estranheza não é o fim, mas o prelúdio de uma vida mais verdadeira. Não há como voltar atrás, porque voca já provou o sabor de expansão. O que resta, agora, e sustentar esse estado, mesmo quando o mundo externo ainda não reflete a mudança. A vibração vem primeiro, o reflexo vem depois, e isso que vamos aprofundar na próxima etapa. Como estabilizar esse novo estado, unindo chancha e espiritualidade, para que voca não apenas compreenda, mas viva na prática o papel de criador consciente de sua realidade. Traditional science still insists on believing that consciousness is a product of the brain, but quantum physics is challenging that view. Amit Goswami and other pioneers claim the opposite. It's not the body that generates consciousness. It's consciousness that sustains the body. This changes everything because it shows that you're not a hostage of matter, but its creator. Your sense of strangeness is simply a symptom of stepping out of the illusion of being an effect and beginning to perceive yourself as the cause. When we look at the collapse of the wave function, physics shows that particles have no defined form until they are observed. This means the simple act of observation already creates reality. If we expand this to life, we realize that the world around us is not solid in itself. but a reflection of the frequency with which we observe it. The emptiness you feel is the gap between the old collapse and the new reality. Beginning to form. It's like living in two worlds simultaneously. On one side, the conditioned world built by beliefs, habits, and inherited programming. On the other, the emerging world born from the field of mind and quantum consciousness. Awakening happens when you realize you were trapped in the first, but now can choose the second. This transition can be uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. Imagine your identity as worn clothes. For years, you believed you were those garments, the name you carried, the social role you played, the opinions others projected onto you. But now, upon awakening, you realize those clothes no longer fit. They feel heavy, limited, tight. And you feel the urgency to shed them to experience your true vibrational skin. The ego, in this process, shows up as an outdated map. It tries to show you paths that no longer exist, insists on leading you down streets that have been demolished. You feel frustration because the map no longer matches the territory. But that doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're walking on new ground that must be explored with presence. Strangeness is simply a sign of updating. This updating can be felt in the body. Many people report changes in sleep, sensitivity to sounds, or even shifts in appetite. Biology responds to vibrational change because every cell is a receiver antenna for the energy field. When you change your frequency, your whole body recalibrates. That's why you feel physical and emotional discomfort. It's matter trying to keep up with consciousness. What's most curious is that science itself confirms this through epigenetics. Bruce Lipton showed that it's not genes that determine our lives, but the environment to which they respond. And the most powerful environment is the vibrational field you carry. By changing your frequency, you also change how your body expresses itself. This is awakening at the cellular level. So don't be surprised if you feel more sensitive, more intuitive, more open to subtle perceptions. That's just your antenna expanding its capacity to pick up the field. Before, you lived tuned into a limited radio station. Now you're beginning to access frequencies that were always available, but which your old identity didn't allow you to hear. This sensitivity is a blessing, not a curse. At this point, the external world may seem to fall apart. Relationships lose meaning, routines feel empty, goals seem small. But it's not that everything lost value, it's that your vibration no longer supports the same scenario. You begin to see that external reality is just a mirror, and that this reflection only changes when you change inside. The mirror is not the enemy, it's just a reflection. And it's precisely at this point that opportunity arises to stop being a passive observer and become a conscious creator. What once felt like strangeness begins to reveal itself as a key to power. You realize you can choose to collapse new realities aligned with your expansion. This realization is the first step toward conscious quantum manifestation. But don't be fooled, the process requires courage. You have to let go of old identities, give up roles that once gave you security, allow the old house to collapse. It's painful, but necessary, because you can't build the new while insisting on living in ruins. Awakening is renewal, not renovation. It's rebirth, not a superficial adjustment. This is the crossing, walking in the gap between worlds. The old hasn't fully left, the new hasn't fully arrived. It's in this space that many feel emptiness. But this emptiness is fertile. It's the open quantum field, ready to be filled by the vibration you choose to sustain. The universe doesn't tolerate a vacuum. What you hold now will soon manifest. The problem is that many run from this emptiness and rush back to old identities, just to avoid discomfort. But those who dare to remain in this space, who take a deep breath and hold the frequency, discover that this is where the true portal lies. It's the most fragile and at the same time, the most powerful moment of awakening. What you do in this gap defines the timeline you will live. So stay aware. Breathe consciously. Observe without judgment. Allow the strangeness to exist without trying to fit it into old explanations. This space is sacred. It's the quantum womb where your new reality is being gestated. And in the next part, I'll show you how to consolidate this process with daily practices that turn awakening into a solid path. Awakening doesn't happen only in great insights or mystical moments. It becomes solid through small daily rituals that stabilize your frequency. It's like keeping a flame lit. It's not enough to light it once, you need to feed it. Your consciousness has already awakened, but now it must learn to sustain that vibration day by day, even when the outer world doesn't align. One of the most powerful rituals is conscious writing. When you record your states, perceptions, and synchronicities, you transform subtle experiences into solid anchors. The subconscious mind needs repetition and witnessing. Each word written is like a stone placed along the path, ensuring you don't get lost in the confusion of old frequencies. Science confirms this. Writing activates different regions of the brain, connecting emotion and logic. This integration strengthens neuroplasticity, creating new circuits. Spirituality has always called this giving testimony or declaring faith. It's the same principle, bringing the invisible into the visible, anchoring vibration into form. A journal becomes the physical mirror of your inner transformation. That's why we created Awaken Your Quantum Power, a practical guide in ebook form. It's not just reading, it's a journey of exercises, reflections, and practices to anchor your awakening. It's 33 days of reprogramming, where each page becomes a portal of energetic alignment. It's the tool to turn strangeness into stability, emptiness into presence, awakening into power. The link is in the description so you can start now. Now, take a deep breath and imagine yourself opening this guide every morning. Picture yourself writing, reflecting, answering the questions that activate your subconscious mind. Feel clarity arising, confidence solidifying, vibration stabilizing. This simple ritual changes your entire day because it puts your frequency at the center from the very first moment. And notice how this creates a cumulative effect. Day after day, the initial strangeness transforms into familiarity with the new. What seemed like confusion becomes clarity. What seemed like loss becomes expansion. It's like training a muscle. Each practice strengthens the new identity until it becomes natural. The journal is not just a notebook, it's a bridge. It connects your inner experience to the external field. It shows the universe that you're committed. And the more you write, the more signs and synchronicities appear, confirming your frequency is aligned. It's as if life responds to every word you record. That's the secret, turning awakening into routine. Not waiting for special moments, but cultivating the state of consciousness daily. And the more you ritualize, the more solid your new identity becomes. Awakening stops being a temporary phase and becomes a way of life. You'll notice that, over time, empty conversations no longer bother you, they simply lose importance. Old social roles no longer bind you, they just become memories. And in place of the emptiness comes a silent peace that doesn't depend on anything external. That peace is proof that you've anchored your new vibrational state. So don't underestimate the power of small rituals. They are the anchors that prevent you from drifting back into the sea of collective unconsciousness. They're daily reminders that you're not crazy, not lost, you're simply vibrating differently. And the world, sooner or later, will have to adjust to that. This is the invitation to take responsibility for your awakening, not as a burden, but as a privilege. You're among the few who can perceive beyond the illusion. And with that comes the chance to consciously choose your path. Writing, breathing, presence, these are your master tools. And remember, you're not alone. Every page written, every conscious breath, every ritual performed, connects you to an invisible network of beings who are also awakening. The collective grows stronger in the silence of individuals who chose to vibrate differently. You are part of something much greater. In the next part, we'll expand this vision even further, showing how individual awakening is not just about you, but an essential contribution to the collective field. Because when you awaken, everyone awakens a little too. Have you noticed how your presence affects the environment? Just by entering a room without saying a word, people feel your energy. When you're anxious, you influence the space. When you're at peace, everyone relaxes. This isn't imagination, it's bioelectromagnetism. The heart emits a field measurable by instruments, and your vibration extends far beyond your skin. Awakening is also collective impact. By stabilizing your frequency, you become a silent beacon. You don't need to convince anyone or impose your vision. Just be, just vibrate. This heart coherence naturally influences those around you. People may not understand why, but they say, "I feel something different about you." That something is the vibration of your expanded self, touching their field. And the more people awaken, the stronger the collective field becomes. It's like thousands of small candles being lit, slowly illuminating the darkness. Each individual light helps make the whole clearer. And so, awakening ceases to be just personal and becomes a planetary movement. You're already part of this network, whether you realize it or not. Spirituality has always said, when one awakens, everyone awakens a little. Today, science confirms this in collective coherence experiments. When groups meditate together, crime rates drop, violence decreases. The field responds to the sum of aligned consciousnesses. This shows your individual practice is never isolated. Awakening, therefore, is service. It's not just about finding peace for yourself, but radiating that peace into the world. Every time you breathe consciously, you help dissolve collective density. Every time you write your expansion, you strengthen the field so others can also feel empowered to expand. You become a living example, even without words, and realize this is the answer to the emptiness you felt at the beginning. That sense of disconnection was just preparation for you to reconnect on another level, not with people or roles, but with humanity itself. What seemed like isolation becomes deep connection. This connection changes your worldview. You begin to realize there's no real separation, that every gesture you make affects the whole, that every breath you take contributes to the global field. This responsibility can be intimidating, but it also sets you free, because it shows your life has a greater purpose than you imagined. And the purpose is simple: be coherent. Live as living proof that awakening is possible. Stabilize your frequency even when the world insists on chaos. Be a beacon when others feel lost. You don't need to save anyone, just keep your light on. The rest follows naturally. Over time, you'll notice synchronicities intensify. The right people show up, paths open, opportunities arise. It's not coincidence, it's resonance. The universe responds not only to your vibration, but to the network of consciousness you're aligned with. You've entered another flow. This flow isn't linear. There will be days of doubt, moments of fluctuation. But remember, even the pendulum finds balance after swinging. Your task is simply to always return to the center. That constant return is the true training of awakening. Not giving up on yourself, even when the mind insists on noise. And the more you return, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you realize the initial strangeness is gone. The emptiness has been filled with a serene peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. That's proof your new identity has stabilized. Awakening is no longer a phase, it has become your foundation. This is the point where your journey stops being just personal and becomes a legacy. Because others will look at you and wonder, what changed? And you won't need to explain anything. Your presence will be the answer. Your vibration will be the testimony. Your life will be the proof. And in the next stage, we'll dive into the deepest part of the process. how to turn this state into a conscious method, revealing practices that allow you to sustain and amplify your expansion in any situation. Now that you understand that strangeness is not a flaw, but the first sign of expansion, it's time to turn that awareness into a method. Because awakening is not just about perceiving the void, it's about learning to stabilize the new frequency amid an external world that still vibrates at the old rhythm. This is the true challenge, to remain awake even when everything around you insists on sleeping. The method begins with an intimate decision, choosing to be a conscious creator instead of a passive observer. This means not letting yourself be carried away solely by external circumstances, but remembering that reality bends to your vibration. You don't wait for life to change so you can vibrate higher. You vibrate higher, and life reorganizes around you. It's a radical shift in perspective, but that's exactly what gives it power. So how do you apply this in daily life? The first step is conscious breathing. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you send the body a message of safety. The nervous system calms down, and the heart enters coherence. This state is measured by science, but also recognized by spirituality as alignment with the higher self. Each conscious breath is a vibrational anchoring. The second step is neutral observation. Instead of automatically reacting to external situations, you become a witness to them. By observing without identifying, you break the cycle of repetition. The subconscious mind is reprogrammed when you stop reinforcing old patterns. This is applied neuroscience and at the same time, an ancient spiritual practice. The third step is vibrational choice. Whenever doubt, fear, or emptiness arises, ask yourself, what frequency do I want to remain in right now? This simple question puts you back in the role of creator. It's not about denying what you feel, but choosing not to stay fixed in what you don't want. It's tuning your inner dial to the frequency of your future self. These 3 steps, breathing, observing, and choosing, form the foundation of the method. They may seem simple, but together they represent deep reprogramming. Every time you practice them, you strengthen a new neural and energetic pattern. Before long, strangeness gives way to serenity. Inner chaos gives way to clarity. Spirituality describes this as being in the world, but not of the world. You still interact with people and scenarios from the past, but you no longer vibrate in the same field. Your frequency is different, and that naturally begins to transform your environment. What once drained you now can't reach you, because your vibration is higher than the surrounding density. The method does not require perfection, it requires consistency. You don't have to pressure yourself to never feel fear or sadness, but to always return to center when you do. This constant return is what strengthens your vibrational identity. It's like a rubber band. The more you return, the firmer your point of balance becomes. The practice is the awakening itself, and notice, every time you practice, the universe responds. Signs increase, synchronicities intensify, unexpected encounters happen. This isn't coincidence, it's resonance. The energy field around you is responding to your new state. You collapse different realities because you no longer observe life with the same eyes. This practice also dissolves attachment. Because, by sustaining the frequency of your future self, you already feel that what you desire is present. There's no anxiety, only trust. And in this state, the universe can act freely, bringing results in ways you never imagined. Surrender becomes as natural as inhaling and exhaling. Now try this with me. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply and mentally repeat, I am a conscious creator. Feel this phrase echo in your body. Exhale slowly and imagine releasing the weight of your old self. Each time you do this, you reaffirm your new identity and seal in the field the vibration of your expanded self. The method is simple but profound. It's not in distant books or complex formulas. It's in your body, your focus, your breath. You don't need to seek outside, you just need to remember inside. Awakening is not acquisition, it's revelation. It's peeling back the layers until you find who you've always been. And when you practice this, you realize that the outer world may not change right away, but you are no longer the same in front of it. And that internal change is what forces reality to adjust. The mirror always follows the reflection. Matter always follows consciousness. The universe always follows the observer. So don't underestimate the power of the simple. Breathing, observation, and vibrational choice are the keys to transforming strangeness into stability. They are the foundation for living awake amidst the noise. And in the next part, you will understand that your awakening is not only personal, it's a cosmic calling. Because when you awaken, the world awakens through you. Now that you've learned to stabilize your frequency, it's time to understand the true purpose of awakening. It was never just about you. It's also about everyone your life touches. Because when you awaken, even in silence, you become a mirror for others. Your elevated vibration radiates and uplifts without needing to explain anything. Imagine thousands of people going through the same process as you, all feeling strangeness, all questioning their identities, all freeing themselves from old structures. And maps, what seemed like a personal void reveals itself as a collective movement. We're experiencing not only individual awakenings, but a global expansion of consciousness. And every person who sustains their frequency contributes to the collective field. Science has already measured it. Hearts in coherence emit waves that travel meters away. Now imagine billions of hearts aligned, each one vibrating in trust and love. That alters the planetary field. It's physics confirming what mystics have always said. This is the call, to live as a conscious observer, knowing your presence is not small. Every breath you take is a seed in humanity's garden. Every elevated thought is a wave flowing through the collective. Every choice not to give in to fear strengthens the possibility of a brighter future for all. You are an active part of the whole. And notice how this brings purpose back. What seemed like loss becomes mission. What seemed like disconnection becomes deep connection. You stop looking for meaning in old roles and discover meaning in vibrating your essence. What you do for yourself resonates with many. Awakening is individual, but always collective. Now imagine the planet as a giant mirror. For centuries, it reflected fear, scarcity, control. But now, each being who awakens and polishes their frequency helps this mirror shine differently. Your personal light doesn't replace another's, it adds to it. And together, we create a global reflection of abundance and trust. This is the archetype of the guardian. You awaken not just for yourself, but to protect and expand light in the world. Your commitment is not a burden, it's sacred. Because by taking care of your vibration, you are already taking care of the collective field. The greater service begins with you, but doesn't end with you. It echoes outward to all that, and so, never underestimate your journey. Even on days of doubt, your simple attempt to remain awake already contributes. Every conscious breath is like a silent prayer rising to the field. Every choice of love in the face of fear is a vibrational code sent to humanity's network. You are part of this cosmic script. Now, close your eyes and imagine thousands of points of light scattered across the planet. Each point is a person awakening, just like you. Visualize these points connecting until they form a luminous web around the Earth. This web is real. It's the network of expanding consciousness. And you are one of the nodes in this divine weave. So your mission is simple and profound. Don't abandon yourself. Keep choosing to vibrate high, even when everything seems to pull you down. Sustain the flame, even in the wind. Remain in coherence, even in chaos. This is the greatest service you can offer. And to seal this commitment, I invite you to write the word awakened in the comments. Not as mere engagement, but as a symbolic ritual. It's your public declaration that you accept the call, that you choose to live awake and conscious from now on. A vibrational pact between you, the universe, and this community. If this content touched your soul, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone you love. Each of these gestures is not just support for the channel, it's an active contribution to strengthening this network of awakened consciousness. It's like adding another light to the luminous web surrounding the planet. Never forget, you didn't get here by chance. You were guided. This calling didn't come from outside, it came from within. And now it's up to you to honor it. Because when you awaken, humanity awakens with you. When you rise, everyone rises a little too. Awakening is not a final destination, it's a beginning, and you've already begun. Now just sustain it, radiate it, and share it. The activation is complete. You are no longer just an observer of life. You are a conscious creator of the new world.